Hello everyone, this is Professor Radiguer again. In this recording I'm going to talk briefly about the syllabus itself. Talk about what it is you're required to do in this course, what materials you need, and just basically overall what's going to happen this semester. Okay, so here's the syllabus. I've got it blown up pretty big here in Google Docs. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. There's my contact information. That telephone number is my cell phone. I prefer you to use email, but if you have some absolutely immediately urgent issue and I'm not responding to email, feel free to call me. But again, use that sparingly, please. There's my email address. I mentioned in the recording about Blackboard that you can certainly use the Blackboard mail feature, but if you would like to get a quicker response, probably email me directly at my Eisenberg email address is going to be best. Okay, class time online, as you already know that. Online office hours, Mondays and Tuesdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I'm very flexible, so if you need to meet later than that, well, not on Mondays, but on Tuesdays, or later in the week, that can be arranged. I just wanted to put some concrete times down where I will be available. And I'll talk a little bit more, probably another recording, about how online office hours will work. Anyways, just know that I'm pretty flexible in office hours, so if these times don't work for you, don't worry about it. We'll find plenty of time where we can find something that does work for you. Okay. Course objectives there, just go through that on your own. Don't need to read those to you. This course will be supported by presentations, marketing simulation, and case studies, discussion boards as well, which should be mentioned there. Okay, textbook. For this class, I like to use a framework for marketing management by Philip Kotler and Kevin Lane Keller. The newest edition is the 5th edition, but frankly, I like the 4th edition. It's pretty much the same book, and it's a lot cheaper. So I encourage you to get the cheaper version. If you want to get the international version, that's good as well. But 4th edition is plenty. You don't have to get the 5th edition unless you want to. So I'm not sure what it costs, but a used one, especially the 4th edition, shouldn't be too bad. The simulation we need to get is called MarkStrat, and you purchase it directly from this particular link. So you go there and they'll have all the information that you need. Okay. MarkStrat manual will come with the software. You'll need that for sure. And there'll be 2 cases that you'll need to purchase from the Ivy School of Business at the University of Western Ontario. They're $3 each. It's not going to break the bank. So be sure you get those. Those aren't needed for a few weeks. The cases, that is, so you have a little bit of time. Strongly recommended, just the major business periodicals: Bloomberg, Business Week, Wall Street Journal, The Economist. I've got Houston Business Journal here because this is where I work, but Boston or New England Business Journal, whatever it might be called, is probably more appropriate for you guys, obviously. Okay, other readings may be assigned in class. Just know that they might relate to the discussion boards. Okay, here's how the course breaks down. Basically, discussion boards, marketing simulation, and peer evaluation, or a peer alternative, also called the individual assignment. So what you'll be doing here is first of all, you'll be answering some discussion board questions. Just read through this. You'll get awarded up to 3 points per week for the first 10 weeks of class. After that, there'll be no more. You'll be deeply involved in your simulation. You won't have time for that, and so I don't expect you to have to answer discussion boards beyond a certain point. Okay? So I mentioned a little bit about these in Blackboard. A couple of the discussions in the discussion boards are going to relate to the cases, which I mentioned earlier. I'll show you how to order those here in just a bit. Okay? Alright, so this just talks about how you should be actively involved in the discussions. I mentioned that already. in the Blackboard recording. If you haven't watched that one, I might stop and watch that one first. Okay. All right, then the marking simulation itself. This is 60 points or 60% of your final grade. It's a big deal, so I certainly hope you take it seriously. It's a very rigorous yet very easy to use, enjoyable marking simulation. Okay. So again, read through this. Just note that you can do this as a group or as an individual. You have to let me know by Sunday of the first week of class. One thing to note here is once you've made that decision, you've let me know, you cannot change. So if you start out in a group and you get halfway through and you're not happy with the group, you're stuck with the group. So think real hard about that. And then flip side, if you decide to go individual and you get halfway through and you realize this is more work than one person can do on his own, you're stuck. You're going to have to finish on your own. So once you make a choice, that's locked in. Okay. So let me know by the 9th of September, which is a Sunday before midnight, if you want to work in a group or as an individual. And if you want to work as a group, if there are people you know of in a class you'd like to work with, let me know who they are as well, and I'll do my best to put you together. Okay, so actually how you're graded with the marking simulation, it breaks down into 3 components. Performance in the simulation itself, reports related to your performance in simulation, and then a final presentation. Okay, so you'll be doing over the course of the semester 8 rounds of the simulation. You'll be making decisions based on marketing rationale. The decisions you make are up to you and your group. And then what you'll be doing is each period the simulation will run, and you'll get information spit out to kind of show you how you did and how your competitors did. So you'll be evaluated based on your period performance. And what I'm going to use to evaluate you is just called the stock price index, and it's one of the major metrics within the simulation itself. And you'll see it as you start playing around with MarkStrat, and as I show you later on a demo of MarkStrat, you'll see that it's there. And so you'll be evaluated based on your relative position to everyone else within your particular industry. Okay? We won't have the entire class in one industry. You'll be broken up into multiple industries, no more than probably 5 or 6 firms per industry. So I say firms because you'll be posing as a particular firm, and that firm that is you're running can be either you individually or you in a group, depending on how you decide. Okay. And there's a kind of a grade sheet down towards the bottom that shows how you'll be evaluated for your performance on that stock price. Basically, I'll take the better of your relative rank in that period compared to the other teams, or how much you actually grew in the period. So if you're in dead last place, but you made some significant growth, and you're still in dead last, you'll be rewarded for the growth. Whereas if you're in first place, you have a bad period, you'll lose some stock price, but you're still in first place, you'll still be rewarded for being in first place. So what you don't want to be is in last place and have negative growth, and that's going to result in the lowest score. So this is set up like this so everyone has the opportunity to do well. If I just went on ranking or just went on growth, people would some teams may not do so well the entire semester. Okay. Now, also on top of the performance itself, you'll be writing 5 reports throughout the course of the term. Actually, 5 reports in 5 weeks, where you basically report on your performance, what you did, and what you're going to do to fix or improve yourself going forward. Okay, so you can see there what each of the reports cover. The reports are given letters to avoid confusion with the period numbers. There'll be reports A, B, C, D, and E. And like it says there, fuller instructions are in Appendix B. I'll talk about that briefly in a bit. And then finally, at the end of the semester, you'll give an overall final presentation based on your experience. And again, there'll be some instructions that actually Appendix B and talk about how you actually structure and perform the presentation itself. And I'll give you more information later in the term about the technology that you'll need to be using to make this recording. Okay? Alright. So, between the discussion boards and the marketing simulation, that's 90% of your grade. And the final 10% is going to come down to how you're evaluated by your peers, or if you work individually, the individual assignment that you're going to do, also called the peer alternative. So if you're evaluated negatively by your students, you can get penalized and you can lose some of those 10 points. If you're evaluated highly, people think you're great, you'll get all 10 points. It's a free 10 points. But if you don't participate as well, your quality is poor, you can earn as few as 0 points on that. So it's not an absolute evaluation. I do take a look at them and see if there's any sort of discrepancy with them. If one person is giving you a really negative score and everyone else is really positive, chances are I'm going to drop that really negative score. So I definitely will give you the benefit of the doubt in these evaluations. Don't be scared of them. If you're trying to decide between group and individual work, don't be scared away just by the peer evaluation. Just note also, if you work in a group and you don't turn the peer evaluation in, you're going to get a 0 for this final 10 points, because you have to turn it in, because I have to know how everyone is evaluated by everyone else in the group. So you have to do it. It's very simple. It takes less than 5 minutes. It's due the last day of the class. So shouldn't be a problem. I just want to warn you up front, it has to be done. Okay, and like I mentioned in the Blackboard recording, for those of you that choose to do the simulation individually, peer evaluation obviously doesn't apply. So there'll be a alternative assignment, which I will give later in the term. Just be a couple-page paper on something related to the class that will allow you to earn up to those 10 points. Okay. All right, late assignments. Discussion boards, if you're late on your discussion boards, there'll be a 25% daily late penalty. I don't expect this to be a problem. I've never really had it be a problem in MBA level courses, so shouldn't be a problem. But submitting your simulation decisions cannot be done late, because the simulation will run whether or not you've made your decisions or not. The final presentation, peer evaluation, must be in before midnight on December 9th, the deadline day. Okay? Alright, just a requisite statement, no cheating. I don't expect you to cheat, but just in case so anyone gets the idea, there it is. It says don't cheat. Pretty obvious. Okay, communicating with me, I've already mentioned this. You can use Blackboard Mail or you can use email. Either way is fine with me. Doesn't matter. Direct email will be quicker. Okay? Also have to tell you that lectures will be recorded and available to you to watch and listen to offline. Okay? Alright, so here's the schedule. Just kind of briefly, I'm going to go through it. First week, there'll be a brief lecture, marketing overview. I should probably tell you to kind of skim Chapter 1 as well as Chapter 2. Due to the end of that week are 3 things: discussion boards for that week, signing up for the MarkStrat simulation software, which is completely web-based. You don't have to download anything, which is really nice. And then finally, group requests due by that Sunday. Okay, and then starting with week 2 and continuing for the next 5 weeks, it'll be somewhat busy. You'll have discussion boards due each week, and then the last 3 weeks of this second module, you will have simulation practice. So you definitely want to be well read up on the simulation and play with it a little bit by I'd say, the 24th of September. That way, as we start to practice with the simulation in our groups, you'll be well versed there. Okay, and so as you can see, second week you have just discussion boards due. The third week you have just discussion boards due. 4th, 5th, and 6th weeks, you have 2 things due on Sundays. You have the discussion boards for that week, and then also your decisions. And you may be asking, what are the decisions? You'll know what they are as we start going through the simulation itself. Okay, so pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I don't expect there to be any issues there. Okay, I want to show you real quick how you download the cases. There are only 2. One's required for week 2 discussions, and one's required for week 4 discussions. I like cases because they give you a real example to kind of go on, and you take information and apply it to the particular case, particular situation. You'll answer some questions, and it's good. So basically what you'll do is you'll log in here. It says product not found. That's not good. There it is. Sorry, there's a question mark on that link. Remove the question mark and you'll get to what you want. So basically what you'll do is you'll have to go in, register for an account, and then once you're registered, log into your account, then come back to this page and you'll just add to cart. Okay, so I haven't logged in, so it's not going to show me. Well, actually I can log in here. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, now I have instructor privileges, so I can download an examination copy. But what you'll do is you'll create your account, you'll log in, you'll come back to this link, you'll click add to cart, and it becomes added to the cart. Then you go back, click on the we case, same thing. I don't know why that question mark is there, I'll have to delete that. Same thing, this is the second case you need. Click add to cart, and then once you're done, you go to your cart. And here you pay for them. You want to click digital download, because if you want to have them printed, they'll be happy to do that for you, but they'll charge you shipping. These come from Canada, so it's not really cheap. So if you click on digital download for both of those and click update, and click checkout, you're good to go. Okay, and you go in here and you put in the course in which you're using these cases, and then you click next. So you'll have UMass here instead. This is my primary school, but you'll have UMass there. You'll have all your information, and then click submit. They should be easily downloaded, and then you'll be done. If you can't download them, let me know. I'll hook you up with a customer service guy, and they'll get you fixed up. Okay. All right then. Once we get through the MarkStrat practice periods, then we get into the full-on graded MarkStrat. This is where you're gonna earn your marks for the course. So there'll be discussion boards for the first couple of weeks, but they'll be very short, very minimal. And here there are no more recordings from me, no more lectures. You'll be straight on, just working in your groups or by yourself on the simulation itself. And I expect you to spend 3 to 4 hours a week at least on the simulation, because it's very detailed, and it's that important. There'll be lots of information for you to look at. Okay, so that first week, week 7, at the end of that week, Sunday, you have discussion boards due, and then your decisions for the first period. Okay, and then after those decisions are made, the next morning I will physically run the simulation, move it on into the period 1, and then what you will do is the next week you will write a report based on what you discovered in period 1, how I did compared to my competition. This is what I need to do better. You'll submit that report, and then you'll also submit your period 2 decisions. So it's logical to work in that order, to do your report first, and then do the decision, input the decisions for the next period, because the report itself, you're going to talk about what you're going to do next. And so after you talk about what you do next, then you move on and physically do what it is that you said you're going to do. Okay? And also that week there'll be a few short discussion boards that are due. Just note a typo here. This should say report A. This one should say report B. This one should say report C. I apologize for that oversight on my part. I will fix that. But in terms of this particular recording, it's wrong. So just note that. So anyways, for the first 3 weeks, the first week you'll have just decisions and discussion boards, and next week you'll have one set of decisions, one report, as well as the discussion boards. The next period, same thing, you'll have one set of decisions, one report, and the discussion boards. And then starting in week 10 is the last week where you have discussion boards. So just one discussion board, real simple, real straightforward. But starting here, you have 2 sets of decisions to make. This is where I mentioned in the Blackboard recording that at some point one round of decisions enough. A week is not enough. So at this point, you'll move into 2 rounds of decisions each week. So the decisions will be made on Thursday night and Sunday night. So as you look here, finishing up week 9, you'll have decisions to be made for period 3. You submit your report B. The next morning, I run the simulation into period 4. So you'll log in, you'll see what's going on. You'll make your period 4 decisions on Thursday, and then on Sunday you'll write your report C, which is based on the period 4, and then you'll submit decisions for the next period as well as do the discussion board. So the only thing added here is you have one additional set of decisions to make each week, and it will always be on Thursday. Okay? So you do that for week 10, you do that for week 11. I realize I may not have explained that well. This might be a little confusing, but it'll make more sense as we go along. So you'll have 2 weeks of 2 rounds of decisions, 1 report. Then we'll have Thanksgiving week. Absolutely nothing is due the week of Thanksgiving. You'll have something due the Sunday before Thanksgiving, but technically that's considered part of the previous week. And then we come back from Thanksgiving. You won't have anything due until Thursday, which Thursday will be your final round of decisions, period 8. And then that following Sunday, the 2nd of December, you will write your final report, report E, which will just cover period 8. Okay? All right, and the next week you have your team presentations as well as your peer evaluations or your peer alternative, whichever one you want to call it, due Sunday the 9th before midnight. Okay? All right, before we move on, again, want to mention that I'm going to change the labels in these reports from period whatever report to report A, report B, report C, all the way down to report E to avoid confusion. And I'm also going to do that with individual assignments. I realize I refer to it as peer alternative in Blackboard, so I'm going to change this to say peer alternative for those of you that don't do the project in a group. Okay? All right, below, just go through these appendices. They have some information about how you're going to be evaluated and how you do things in MarkStrat. So here, this is how your performance is going to be evaluated. Again, it's the better of stock price rank or stock price growth. Each performance score you'll get will be out of 6. So if you're in first place or you grow more than 40%, you'll get a 6. And if you're in a lower place or have lower growth, it just depends on which one gives you the higher number of points. So an example is if you're in 3rd place but you grew 32%, let's say, you get the better of 5.2 or 5.7, which will be 5.7. Okay? Again, this will make more sense as we go along. Minor bonus, if you move up in the rank, I'm going to give you bonus points. Okay, so if you move up 1 place, like if you go from 3rd to 2nd, you get 0.1 of a point. If you move up 2 places, you get 0.2 up to 0.5 out of 6. So 0.5 out of 6 is a pretty significant percentage. So that'll help you. So if you start low and you start growing, you're going to be rewarded in higher scores and also bonus. Okay. This next section talks about how you write your MarkStrat reports. I'm not going to read through this. You should read through this. If you have any questions, let me know. There's a sample in there for you to go on. Okay. This is how I'm going to grade the report itself. Okay, the final report is I'm sorry, the period reports are out of 3. So, and I'm going to evaluate it based on both analyzing how you did in the current period and also what you plan to do to fix what happened or to improve your position in the next period. Okay, I do reserve the right to deduct up to ½ a point for unprofessional work. So if there's lots of spelling and grammatical errors, appearance problems, if it just looks weird, I reserve the right to deduct that. It doesn't happen very often, but it can. Okay, and then here's information on the final presentation. It's Appendix D, and that's it. So read through that. If you have any questions, let me know. A lot of the questions about the MarkStrat simulation itself will kind of clear up as we go through the course. Feel free to go ahead and ask those questions if you want, but things will clear up as we go along. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know.